Heyo everyone and welcome. I'm your friend Art of Mana, and we're not talking about the Elgato Stream Deck. That caused a lot of confusion for me on Twitter for about 10 minutes. No, it's not a typo. It's not a dropped R. It's the Valve Steam Deck. Yeah, this is new hardware coming from the creators of the Steam store. And oh my goodness, do they have a cool idea here? But first, let me just get something out of the way. There have been people making some pretty catchy thumbnails saying, is this going to dethrone the Switch? Is this what the Switch Pro should have been? To which I respond, no. Honestly, I don't expect that this is going to compete with the likes of the Nintendo Switch. Honestly, this device here is awesome and is going to remain, I think, the primary method for people to play handheld games for the near future, at least until Nintendo probably comes up with another handheld. And the reason I say this is, come on, let's look at the track record. Nintendo has always dominated in the handheld market, and they do so with usually very cheap and cheerful kinds of products, things that you don't have to invest a lot of money in, but they're just fun and they do the job and they're affordable for families and people that just want to have a quick gaming experience. To me, the thing we're going to talk about, it looks like a deluxe system. I mean, check this out. So if we go on the page here and we just look at one of the first things, well, the price is there. It's pretty high. You can see portability meets power. I mean, they are already touting AAA games like Jedi Fallen Order playing on this device. And you can tell just by what they talk about in their press release that we've got some pretty powerful hardware. And from the reviews on IGN, where they actually had an exclusive first look, this thing is pretty fancy and pretty capable. So I liken it to something like this, the Sega Game Gear, which was one of the first handhelds to really compete with Nintendo in the handheld market. This thing was more powerful. It had a color display. It ate batteries, which I suspect probably the Steam Deck will too. But it was not dethroning Nintendo's Game Boy. It sat comfortably alongside it. It did moderately well. And, Sega was happy and then they moved on. Another great example, I think, would be the PlayStation Vita. Really capable hardware, but it just didn't take off in the way that Sony probably expected it to. And it never ended up being something that they would continue to market and continue to develop for. They didn't even decide to make another handheld for the most recent generation. Nintendo is just dominating that way. But why am I interested in this? Why does this look cool? Well, to me, this is an evolution of Valve's hardware. And just as a little bit of background, I was really interested in Valve's hardware approach when they first kind of announced it a few years back, because as a primarily console gamer, someone who likes to kick back on their couch, kind of just plug a game into a console, plug a controller in, and be good to go. I wanted that experience with this incredibly big library of Steam games I was getting through Humble Bundle. By the way, I'm a partner if you want to check out my Humble Bundle partner link, and through the Steam sales. And so I was like really pleased to see that they were bringing a approach like my console approach to PC gaming. And what were they at first talking about? It was the Steam machines. These were basically media PCs at the time when those were really big. And they would sit under your TV and basically be a Linux-based system to play your Steam library, or most of it, or you could stream some of the games that only played on Windows. And, Valve was investing heavily in the Linux-based OS called Steam OS. And then they were investing a little bit in hardware, not the machines themselves. Those were from third parties, but where I think it really counts, the controller. And I love this controller. Is it good? Not really, but it's cool. It's really cool. And I followed it with a lot of interest. This thing just has so many creative ideas. Unfortunately, by taking away a directional pad and instead having your analog stick or having to use one of these touch-sensitive pads, track pads, you really gave up its usefulness for a lot of indie games that were maybe side-scrolling platformers, etc. The other thing is that these discs, they work pretty good, but not great. If you're playing something really competitive, you probably are going to want to stick with a mouse and keyboard if that's what the game was designed to use, because that's what's familiar, but also it just kind of works a little bit better than this. But this works really well for something like Portal, where you can just kind of kick back and relax and take a little more casual approach. But that being said, I did find myself at times getting frustrated. I mean, there was definitely a big learning curve, but it was also just not perfect, if you know what I mean. That being said, I can see on this new device that Valve has definitely iterated on this controller. And I think that's super cool. Obviously, including an actual directional pad, which is brilliant. And then it does have, some of the additional elements. Like, look at those little paddles on the back, 2 additional ones than even the Steam controller has. And you can see a lot of the same design philosophy in here. It's definitely an evolution. And those capacitive touch pads there, those are probably going to work really well for what this device is. But you also have 2 analog sticks right there. Boom. You have a directional pad. Like this is what the Steam controller, the Steam controller, that's what it's called. This is what it could have been in sort of like a perfect form, but now in a handheld that can be docked to your TV. And so it is very Switch-like in that approach. And I think that's kind of where we are right now. That's what people want. So this is really cool. Now, one thing I will say, and I have to kind of throw it out there, is that, Valve did create something that I think is kind of cool. This is the Steam Link. I didn't buy a Steam machine, but I got this little device because you could stream your gaming PC over to another TV. And this is how I played on my TV back when my gaming PC was in the office and the TV was in the living room. But now I'm in a family room. Everything's hooked up. I have my computer plugged directly into this TV. I don't really need that ability. But that being said, this I think was a really clever idea. Now you can use your phone or even a Raspberry Pi to achieve a similar thing and stream your game console or your gaming PC to your TV. But the Steam Deck also allows you to stream from your PC to your device. So there is some expandability for the future, because this is going to be capped at kind of the current era of gaming specs. And what I've heard is that, for the PC, there hasn't been a lot of advancement in the last 10 years or so. So this is going to play pretty much everything from today back pretty well. But, let's think about the fact that we're on the cusp of a really big cutting edge change in the world of gaming. And then I'm a little more worried that this is not going to be able to keep up, but with the ability to stream, well, yeah, it is. So I think this is a really great time. It's a great evolution of the hardware. I want to see Valve continue working and tweaking these things, because it does feel like a pet project, but man, they have some great ideas. And I wish them luck on this. The price is high. I don't think that I'm going to be able to get it, because right now what you're looking at is $399 for the base model, which has only 64 gigs of storage, and it's slow storage. But then if you look, you get SSDs at 529 or 649, and those are probably what you're going to want to get. But man, at that price point, that's expensive. It's just out of my price range. But again, there's a lot of people who probably didn't get a Switch, don't want to invest in another ecosystem, who are going to want to get this. But if you are new to gaming, I don't think this is going to be your first device. So if you're someone who's already invested in PC gaming and you want another option to be able to play your games and maybe play them just very casually in bed, or on the couch, or take it to your friends or whatever, this is going to be a great option for that. So anyways, I wish you luck, Valve. This is cool. What do you think? Do you have any interest in this? All right, let me know in the comments below, and do good, be well, stay safe and healthy. Catch you next time. Bye-bye.